thanks for coming. Can everybody hear me? So this is Jazz.
Hi guys.
And she's going next, and she's going to show us how to do cool stuff with food and talk about a lot of the ways to make something healthy that is unhealthy. There's a wide range of lots of different foods, and it's all in moderation, right? However, a lot of people are looking to lose weight and get healthier because they're eating too much of certain foods that tend to make them less healthy and gain weight. And so what Jazz is going to talk about is alternatives on how to kind of transition from unhealthy to healthy so you're not feeling like you're giving anything up. You're not missing out on anything. Yeah. Do you want to say anything before
I just want to thank everyone for coming. I know a lot of people here are great supporters of Bev and Peach. When you connect yourself and you sit down with like-minded people who have that goal of just wanting to educate people, it means the world to me. You have so many people out there who are trying to sell you something all the time, trying to sell you a quick fix. My thing works. But what really works is education, and you have to find somebody who has your best interest at heart. And that's one of the reasons why I connected to them, is because it really shows that PJ, he has his best interest of everyone that he comes in contact with at heart, and he wants you to live. So the main thing is, when you find somebody whose main goal is to give you the proper education to keep you healthy, it's a winner. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share what I have to say with you guys today, and we're going to let Peach start. Okay?
What I want to talk about today is my top 3 favorite Jedi mind tricks to do on yourself to form better, healthier habits. Because we all know how hard that can be. And part of it is just understanding why it can be hard. Oh, also, I'm going to be giving away protein bars today for people that answer questions or ask questions and stuff like that. And we're going to be doing giveaways throughout the day here too. Do you know what the percentage of resolutions that succeed and fail? Let's just go with failure rate. What do you think it is?
80%. 90.
Okay. You're close. 82. Has anyone said 94 yet?
94.
That's pretty close. Okay, 93. Good. Yeah, that's... You said 93. Okay. Close enough. And so they say that it's 94% failure rate, New Year's resolutions. But they also say that 4% of the people aren't admitting they failed. So it's really 98%. So most people, the vast majority of the people out there, are failing their New Year's resolutions, which is pretty dismal failure rate. And the reason is because they haven't figured out how to develop new habits. They have a wish, but it just stays a wish. And they try to act on it, but then they fail, and they don't know why. But it all comes down to habits. Can you read that?
Yes. You do not.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yoda.
Who said that?
Yoda.
You said even before I could ask who said it. You got it. Nice. So that was Master Yoda, and it's very sage advice, very wise. And my beautiful Beverly is back there. Say hi. Everybody probably has met her by now. And she is not a Star Wars geek. And yeah, so how many other people in here like me are Star Wars geeks?
You know.
Okay. So the other day, just a few days ago, she was trying to, I don't remember why she said it, maybe to encourage or inspire me or something, but she says, this is a direct quote, like that Jedi guy on Star Trek said, do or do not try. And so I was just So yeah, I don't know if her goal was to change my state, but it worked. I was dying laughing, and that's just what Yoda was doing. Who knows what college I went to? Who said that? Yeah. Didn't you already get one? Oh no, you okay. You intercepted. Rondell used to play semi-pro football, so So he's a good answer. Okay. Yes, SPU. And I started out as a psych major until I switched to exercise science my senior year because that was my real passion. Psych stuff is also a passion of mine. And so I kind of combined both over the years. And it really went into high gear when my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer in the year 2000. We didn't know enough back then to help her. So she passed in 2005. But I never stopped studying the research. And so I've learned a lot since then, including how to slow and even reverse Alzheimer's. We know now how to do that. And I created a blog post on that. And it's on the notes thing that I can send you to if you want that. So it's pretty exciting stuff. But I've learned a lot of other things through the brain research. And a lot of that has to do with what I'm talking about today. So positive state of mind is the first step in when you're trying to create a habit and when you're trying to do a new habit or action. Positive habit formation is impossible in a crummy state. So that's like the guy over on the left side. But it's wonderful if you want to create a bad habit. But when you're in a good state, you can create a good habit, a positive habit. So it's all about how you can change your state and how quickly you can change your state from negative to positive. Because you really do have to be in the right state for your brain to be receptive to those new habits. So here's another question. What part of the brain is considered the conscious part of the brain? Yes, aka prefrontal cortex. It is the frontal lobe. Let me give you a choice because that was the hard question. Do you want the Kirkland chocolate brownie, the Kirkland chocolate chip cookie dough, or the bulletproof mint chocolate chip? It's the PFC, and that's the part of the brain where our willpower is found, where we have forethought, we look into the future, we can simulate scenarios, and it's a part of the brain that separates us from all the other animals. Because if you think of all the other animals on the planet, they're reactionary. They just react to whatever's happening to them. And we all know people like that too, right? And that's because their PFC has kind of gone to sleep. And they haven't done, much brain work, and, they're stressed out all the time, and so are we. And it happens to us more towards the evening than in the morning because we get tired. We get decision fatigue, it's stress. All that stuff takes a toll on the PFC, and it wears out. It has limited resources. The subconscious brain doesn't. And the subconscious brain is actually the boss of us, because the PFC is small, limited resources, limited energy. The rest of the brain, that's most of the brain, operates on about the level of a 3-year-old. And that's the boss of us. So the boss inside your head is a 3-year-old. That's okay though, because the PFC is the parent, and if we know how to train the 3-year-old, then it can work to our advantage, and it can be automatic. So the 3-year-old inside is programmed through images and emotions. And anytime there's a strong emotion, it's going to remember better and get trained better. So if it's negative in a crummy state, that's how you can train yourself really fast to develop really bad habits. Positive, good state, you can train yourself to bring on those positive habits. So one of my favorite exercises is with what I call the post-it exercise. So first of all, can you see Superman's posture and can you see Wonder Woman's posture? They're similar, but there's a subtle difference. So what is that?
She has her hands on her hips.
Yep. Very good. Scooby snack for you. The artist that drew these cartoons didn't know why they were drawing this. I can almost guarantee, because this is very new science. But it's intuitive. They drew it that way because a man's power is their center of gravity. And it's a little bit higher than a woman's. So when you put your hands here, men should do it here for their power posture, and women should do it here, just a few inches down. It's a subtle difference, but it makes a difference. And those subtle changes make a big difference. And the reason that the power pose is so powerful and can change you and change your state so quickly is because it actually changes chemicals and hormones inside your body. More testosterone, yes, women have that too. and better decision-making ability because more mental clarity because of the chemicals that are being excreted and secreted inside your body. When you are in a crummy state, you're typically like this, or you're down like this, or you're angry, and you're hunched forward, and you're compressing your lungs, and you can't take a full breath. It's always in the upper third of your lungs. But when you do this, you can't do that hunched forward. It's uncomfortable, so it makes you stand up. And then when you change that posture, now your lungs are opened up. You can take that big breath, which is the next one, oxygen. So the O stands for oxygen. Breathing in through the nose, preferably, and out through the mouth, or mouth and nose. And that increases nitric oxide levels in your body, which is another great aid in changing your state. And then the next thing is to smile. The 3-year-old inside doesn't actually know the difference between a real smile and a fake smile. So you can fake it. So even if by the time you get to the smile stage, you still don't feel like smiling, if this didn't work and breathing didn't work, then fake it. And if you can't fake it, stick a pencil in your mouth. Seriously, because when you do that, it's the same muscles, right? You have to smile. It's not a smile, but because those smile muscles are contracting, your toddler thinks you're smiling. And you just fooled it. You just hacked your toddler, and you're teaching your toddler to listen up. And then the last one is to be thankful. If you ever have trouble coming up with something you're grateful for, just open your eyes and look around. It can be the chair you're sitting on. It can be the roof over your head. Because if you think about it, in this country, what don't we have to be thankful for? 9 out of 10 people on this globe would give their right arm to trade places with you. We have so much, and we forget that. So it's real easy just by looking around. So let's try it together. So let's stand up. You're going to start with the power pose. And now, if you're in a public place and you're at the Department of Licensing and you don't feel like doing your power pose in public, you can imagine it. Because if you've done it enough, you're good at imagining how that feels and looks. And so your toddler doesn't know, you're just imagining, because the toddler doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. So just imagine it in your brain. And then now we're going to breathe in, big breath in, and then full breath out, blow it all out, and then smile or fake it. And then think about something you're grateful for. It can be someone, it can be something, maybe just your health. Maybe the fact that you can fake smile. That's something to be grateful for. And the post-it technique can also be used to crush emotional eating. So if you're in, because that's a state. When you're in a crummy mood, that can be something that people fall victim to. And this can be a technique to crush that too. Good job. Way to go. I wish I had a whole bunch of bars. Number 2, add a daily easy mini habit. So what do I mean by that? Well, E stands for every day. In the morning, if possible, because remember I talked about how the PFC gets tired through the day? That's why in the morning it's easiest for us to do high willpower activities, like to go work out and to eat right and all that kind of stuff. It's easier in the morning because our PFC is fresh. It's got to be an action, a physical action, not just an affirmation, not just saying something, which is great. Affirmations are awesome, but I'm talking about a habit, a physical habit that you're trying to develop, some kind of physical action. And the S stands for subconscious. It has to be easy enough and short enough and small enough and mini enough to sneak it under your toddler's radar. Because the toddler inside is resistant to hard stuff. The toddler likes the status quo. The toddler likes to stay with what you've already established. All the good habits, the bad habits, everything you've already established. It wants just to do those. It doesn't want anything new. But if it's small enough and easy enough, you can sneak it in under the radar. And another way to sneak it in there and to get it adopted is to have a high yes factor. So you can combine it with an anchor or trigger, an anchor to a habit you already have, or a trigger, which I'll explain pretty soon here. So some examples. We're at the xgym, so I spell things weird. X-A-M-P-L-E-S. One example is the air chair. So let's stand up again. It's just coming down, and it's pretending you're sitting down and just holding there, okay? You're just holding. That's all you're doing. and you're holding for at least 7 seconds. And you're done. There's your mini habit. That's pretty easy to do in the morning, right? 7 seconds is the minimum. Now, you can sit down for real, but this time, just 1 inch off your chair or the ball. Yeah, just stay there. There you go, okay? For the rest of my talk, just do that. The air chair is one example of a tiny mini habit, 7 seconds. It might not seem like it's even worth it, but it sure is to your toddler, and the toddler is the one to train and to educate and to teach. And it's all about the toddler because your toddler is the boss of you. Or one app exercise. The xgym has an app. Some of you already know that. And I always envisioned that people are going to put their workout together and they're going to do the whole 20-minute thing or do one of the 20-minute pre-built routines I put together for them on the app. But something I didn't expect is people are pulling out their phone and doing one exercise. They're waiting in the movie line. And they're like, oh, I've got 3 minutes. So they pull out for one. Really cool. That's a mini habit. That's great. So that's another example. One more glass of water. In the morning, again, 8 ounces. It's not hard to drink 8 ounces if you're not already, or if you're already drinking water, add another 8. Wait an hour and drink another 8. One more fistful of greens. Easy to do. Just a fistful. That's a serving. Just add that somewhere through the day. And if you want to do that in the morning, put it in a smoothie. You could put it in a scrambler. Spinach is great in scramblers. Any kind of green. I mentioned earlier a trigger. So here's an example. It's going to be hard to see, but this is a coffee maker. This is this morning, in fact. Okay. So the note on top says, cup is in. I was up before Bev, and it says, cup is in, ... And then down here, there's a little sticker that says, try bottom button. See, we've changed our routine. Our old habit used to be put a K-cup in, put the water in, turn it on, and then you get your coffee. Our new routine is using the little screen thing and putting grounds in. So this is a Jedi mind trick that Bev didn't know until now. And so I was actually, when Bev came out, I was already on a coaching call, health coaching call. And so, when Ben walks in, everybody say, woohoo, and cheer.
I brought fitness cream for everyone. What happened?
And from now on, if anybody else walks in, same thing. Okay? So this actually worked out perfect because I thought she was going to come out and see that and go, hey, what's going on? Or what does this mean? But I was busy and I couldn't talk, and she knew I couldn't talk, and so she had to figure it out for herself. So I watched her. The wheels were turning. The cup is in, ... So she's thinking. She lifts the thing. She sees there's water already in there. She lifts the little thing. She sees that the strainer with the coffee's in there. And then she smiles. She's like, oh, all the steps are done for me. And then she, down here, it says try bottom button. Normally, with the K-cup, it's the top button. The bottom button is the screen, right? So, and I put the sticker over the top button because that's a very ingrained habit. And so she would have to push through the sticker that says try bottom button. So there's no way she's going to hit the top button. So she gets the bottom button. So now, next time, her brain is going to know if there's a signal, if the cup is in there. She doesn't need the Post-it anymore, but she might need the sticker. So she hasn't seen this yet, but I moved the sticker down to here now. It's in a little bit different place because it's taking her brain the next step, and now it's going to be a new habit formation. But there's been huge steps that have already been done ahead of time. And the first time they found out the reason and the benefit of a trigger was when this coffee shop, they're like, wow, why did our frequent coffee usage cards go up so much? Everybody's using them now. Everybody's going crazy. Well, it turns out one of the baristas wanted to be, the favorite of the customers. And so when they gave out the punch card she did the first one or two. She goes, I'm just going to give you a couple. And then she handed it to him. And so those people were super enthusiastic about their punch cards. And they were way more likely to use it, come back and use it, than the people that hadn't any punch hadn't gotten a punch yet. So they have 1 or 2 steps, makes a huge difference. So if you're going to exercise, say you're going to go running. Well, to put your shoes out by the front door seems like a little deal, but that's a trigger. It's a huge deal. It's a reminder because your toddler inside might try to make you forget. Your toddler will try to sabotage you if you let that. And then you go throughout the day and you go, oh, I forgot to run. Oh, how come I forgot to run? Well, your toddler did that to you. So you put a trigger out there, and then it's a reminder, but it also it makes it one step easier. If I'm going to make fitness chocolate, it's not a big deal. It only takes me 10 minutes. But if I set the coconut oil out, then it's the trigger. Now all of a sudden it seems easier. All I did was take it from the cupboard and put it over by the blender. But that's enough for my subconscious brain to say, oh, this can be an easy thing now. It's the toddler. And then when you're done with a mini habit, victory pose and say out loud, I'm awesome. Unless you're at the Department of Licensing, and then you imagine it, right? Or if you want attention, then do it. But let's stand up and try that. Okay? Victory pose, I'm awesome. Yes. And so what you just did is you gave yourself another shot of those same chemicals that you got from the power pose. And so the power pose got you into the easier habit formation. And then now you just close the loop with another shot of dopamine and the chemicals and the hormones that you need to solidify the loop. And so now you're a huge step ahead. And then the last one is to expect progress, not perfection. The biggest mistake we make is we expect ourselves to be perfect. And our toddler inside gets frustrated when they can't do it perfect the first time, and they throw themselves down on the floor and they throw a temper tantrum and they just want to give up. They don't want to try anymore. When we were 1 and learning to walk, we didn't give up, right? We kept trying, and we didn't get frustrated with ourselves for falling down all the time. But a 3-year-old does get frustrated because now they expect perfection, and then we keep expecting it for the rest of our lives. Well, if we just get rid of that and visualize ourselves on a train chugging along up that hill with progress, not perfection, then, in fact, can anyone tell me what this is a chart of? Yeah, who said that first? I heard a couple. Who else said that? Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good stock, right? I'd invest in that. But that's like our own progress. So we're gonna have plateaus, and we're even gonna go back sometime, dips. But that's okay, because if we're really good at forgiving ourselves and saying that's okay, I'm human, then we can get back on that train right away. I don't like the mental image of falling off the wagon, because then you're in the dirt and you're sitting there and the wagon's running away. But if you visualize falling off a train, then you're just beside the train. The train's still there. It's still going. It's a big, long train. So just get back on. If you can't forgive yourself, you're going to get stuck. And also, you're going to say things like, well, today's shot, so I'll just keep eating crap. And then tomorrow for sure I'll get started again. Well, that's the PFC, right? So the PFC's tired and it's hard to get back on that train. But just remember, the next step is, okay, I'm human. It's okay. I messed up. All humans do. So pull myself up, get back on that train right away, today, right now, instead of tomorrow, or I'll get started Monday, all that kind of stuff. There's lots of ways to stick with this kind of stuff, and exercise is actually the best keystone habit. Have you heard of a keystone habit before? It's the habit that, here comes another opportunity for us to cheer. Win the prize? Yeah. It was a setup. Yeah. Go ahead and find it. There's a chair there or whatever. Exercise is a keystone habit. So if you can exercise, you should do it. There's lots of different options to do it. You can do your own thing. You can go join a gym somewhere. That's a picture of where we are right now, Eastside X Gym. This is a picture of an online training session, because we do that too. So I had to protect the victim, So I put a face over his face to make him look like he's having way more fun than he really is. But this guy, so this is me down here. This is because I'm training him via Skype. And then this next one, this is a client. It's hard to see. She's down here in the corner. I'm training her in her hotel room. She's on a trip. The smallest hotel room I've ever seen, but we figured it out and we made it work. And then, of course, the app. And then the brain type test that some of you know about, that is the 20-question test, and it figures out your brain type. And then it gives you recommendations on the kind of workout you should be doing for your brain type, and some brain hacks and some brain training tricks, the best ones that are going to work for your toddler. So there's another option. And that's the emails that are sent out semi-regularly, I promise, with latest research, tips, biohacks, tricks, stuff like that. That's all I had to say about that. So any questions? We'll and you can grab me after too. But anybody have any burning questions at the moment for some swag? What was your hand?
Oh, so it's after work. 7 o'clock. I work 9 hours.
Yep.
I'm hungry. I go to the store, and the toddler is telling me to buy all this junk food.
Yep.
And I get home, I told myself over and over not to buy that.
Yep.
And it just keeps happening over and over. I'm always, it's sort of like I'm at the store and I'm not even well thinking.
Yep. And Jazz is going to talk about that too, how you can take that junk food and make healthy options so you feel like you're getting it, which is really helpful, especially towards the end of the day when your PFC is tired and the willpower is gone and now the toddler's in charge. That's what's happening. And that's why it's usually towards the end of the day. So you can meditate, you can do some exercise. High intensity exercise is the best, and that'll clear up some space in the PFC. Or find an alternative, a healthy alternative to what you're craving. Now the reason that you're craving junk is because junk food has been specifically formulated and manufactured to give your brain a hit of specific chemicals. Dopamine is one of them. And then it also has ingredients in there. If you look at the ingredient list of something that's junk food, it'll be a paragraph. And most of the words you can't pronounce because they're chemicals that are put in there to make you addicted to that and to fire off the chemicals in your brain that give you the reward, immediate reward. And your brain knows it. And your toddler is out for instant gratification. And so your toddler knows that food is going to make you feel better right away, and it probably will. Half an hour later, you'll feel worse than the baseline, than when you walked into the store, but the toddler doesn't care. And so they eat the food, the toddler says, see, I was right. It drives it even deeper, and then it's harder to resist next time. The food manufacturers know that, and they make a lot of money off that. So just understanding that process can help too. But doing the post-it technique can help. That can free up some space in your PFC as well. And breathing. Especially there's a square breathing technique on that I can send y'all. That's really good for that. What was your...
What's the latest thinking on your diet? What's changed?
So, well, I've been doing keto, and there's lots of diets out there that are great diets, and there's lots of really healthy diets. Oh, here we go. Well, yeah. Made your day, right? So you can grab a chair, or you can sit, on the floor or whatever. The keto diet is high fat, low carb, medium protein, and the reason that I do it is because it's super convenient. And the reason it's so convenient is because I never get hungry, and so if I have a really busy day and I can't eat, I have to skip a meal, no big deal. And I never get hangry, sugar highs and lows, all that kind of stuff. Very sustainable energy all the time. That's great for me. There's lots of great diets out there besides the standard American diet. That's the one we're trying to get away from. So the Mediterranean is the one I usually recommend for people as their next stage off the standard American diet, because keto is a big leap, Mediterranean is a smaller step, and it's really healthy. I like the paleo, I like primal, I like the blood type diet. I haven't seen any research that shows the blood type diet is really valid for the blood type, but all four are healthy. And so I tell people, yeah, sure, start with your blood type, and then when you're tired of that, pick another blood type and do that one, because it'll still be better than the standard American diet, and that's what we're trying to get you away from, right? Yeah.
So one tip or one thing is, like, when you're at a restaurant, what are some tips? I don't know. We all eat out at different places, but how do you eat the healthy thing when you're
Meat and veggies. Every restaurant has meat and veggies, and when you order, it doesn't even have to be off the menu. If you just tell the waiter that comes by, hey, I want some steamed veggies and some grilled meat, that's easier for the chef to make back in the kitchen than what is on the menu. So you're doing them a favor. It's easy to ask for. So that's what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I want to keep the evening moving, so we'll do a couple more, and then just grab me individually after we're all done. So, yeah.
In terms of changing habits, what's the most effective way to get off the sugar train?
Mm-hmm. So to bust the sugar train, I think my favorite brain hack is called the EFT technique. Have you ever heard of emotional freedom technique? Yeah, it's where you're tapping. So if you Google it, in fact, just go to tapping.com, because that's got a really good instructional video on there. That's probably my favorite technique to bust the sugar craving, the quickest, fastest, because it's an acupressure technique. And so what's happening is you're short-circuiting the craving circuit. And that's all it is. It's just a nerve pathway. One more? Uh-huh.
How does sleep affect the control of the toddler?
Great question. So sleep is huge, because if you're not getting sleep, your cortisol is too high. It makes it hard to burn fat. And your hormones, your metabolic hormones, and the hormones that help you sense that you're full are all out of whack. So, and the hormones that make you hungry are higher, and it screws up everything. So that's a huge priority, is to make sure you're getting your sleep, to get to bed early enough, make sure the room is dark enough, quiet enough, if you have to have your phone by you in your bed, put it in airplane mode, get rid of the EMFs, all that kind of stuff. There's tons of things you can do on that. One of my favorite resources for really good sleep strategies is Dr. Mercola, Mercola, Mercola.com. And just on his website, just put it in his search bar, sleep, and you'll see a bunch of posts and articles on that. He's got some really good things to say on that. So thank you very much. And now it's Jaz's turn. And he's going to talk to us about some ways to make unhealthy food healthy.
But before that, we all like free stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a group of people who likes free stuff. Everyone's going to get a little raffle ticket. So this spaceship sucker up here I have is an air fryer. Who's heard of an air fryer, or who has an air fryer? Have you guys heard of one at all? Were you intrigued by it? Interested? Well, I'm going to show you what it's all about today. But first, before anything, who is this woman up here? I have no idea about me. Who am I? My name is Coach Jazz. Years ago, I used to call myself a certified personal trainer, fitness, nutrition, and weight loss specialist. But over the years, I've actually changed. I focus more of my training around mindset control and changing the mindset and lifestyle in general. So with that, I teach people how to make healthier versions of the foods they love. Because unfortunately, growing up, a lot of the foods that we eat were never made the healthiest, right? And so that's why we're kind of in the problem we are in today. The number one cause of death is treatable, preventable, and reversible. What is that, you guys? Exactly, but yet it's the number one cause of death. And that breaks my heart. How come something that we can reverse, treat, and prevent continues to kill us? That's because the standard American diet is not meant to keep us healthy. So, why do I do what I do? Years ago, I moved back to Washington to help take care of my mom. She had multiple back surgeries. 4 surgeries in the span of 2 weeks. They had to go back into the same incision. They then pumped her up full of narcotics to help with the pain. And they told her, the doctor said, don't worry, we'll put you in rehab if you get addicted. From there, she's laying, yes, horrible. She's laying in bed, depressed. She can't move, can't walk. They said she's going to need a dog in order to move. She will never be able to walk by herself again without a cane. My mom now walks 6 miles, just about 6 miles a day. She, oh gosh, happy, healthy. The only thing she wants to do is she wants to be able to move a little bit more, because now she wants to do more. How did I heal her over this time? With food. Finding out what the proper foods that works for her. In society, especially with social media and the internet, there's so much misinformation out there, and there's also a lot of great information. What we have to do is help decipher what works for you. So over the day, the course of the days, weeks, months, years, you're going to continue to get a lot of information. But what's important is you listen to the information that works for you, because the diet that works for me may not work for you. The diet that works for you today may not work for you 3 months from now. You have to find out what works for you. And so I went to school actually for business and accounting and marketing. Sounds great, right? Went to go get my master's in accounting and marketing. Decided like, no, I want to help people. I don't get fulfilled from that. I get fulfilled from having people realize that I can live the life I want. I can move the way I want to move, and I don't have to be held down by the way I feel. That by changing the food that I put into my body, I can live a completely different lifestyle. I've had people come up and cry, and there's no better gift you can give somebody than the gift of feeling better about themselves. And so that's why I do what I do. My training, I went to school for, I hated accounting. I know how to study. I'm not going to go back to school to study. This is over courses of, there's so much information out there. There's scholarly articles, textbooks. I sign up for courses, not even to get the credit. I sign up for courses here and there just to take the class, just to learn. And so, I love French fries. We're going to digress. I love French fries. Why do I love French fries? Because they taste good, right? So this air fryer, what it does, it actually takes heat. It's almost like a big blow dryer for your food. That's what I like to say. So right now, I actually have, shake these around, some French fries going for you guys. How do I do this? Overall, when you're looking at foods, as we know, the standard American diet is full of preservatives, extra sugars, extra salts, to help keep the food longer, to make it taste better. The food companies, they spend millions and millions of dollars to find that bliss point. That point that has the Doritos have the right amount of powder on them, the right amount of crunch, so it feels perfect in your mouth. You have the right amount of powder left on your fingers, so when you lick it, you're reminded that, oh my gosh, I like that Dorito, I want another one. They spend millions of dollars. So I want to tell you this, every single time you put a bag, or you purchase a bag of Doritos, all you're doing is funding them to spend more money on how to make you sick. One point I want you to remember. You like potato chips. You can make potato chips. What are potato chips made out of? It's a potato. So why do you have to add all of this extra stuff that's killing you that you can't even name? I can't pronounce half that stuff on there. I don't even want to try half the time. So what we're going to talk about here today are some different ways that you can make foods healthier. We already ate French fries. What are some foods that you love that you would love to have a healthier version of?
Chocolate.
Chocolate? Well, you already have the chocolate. You already have the chocolate. PJ already had that one down pat for you.
Reminder, it's in the fridge over there.
Yes. There's another version that you take a Greek yogurt, coconut powder, like the cocoa powder, and even like the monk fruit, the sugar. You can make a chocolate yogurt. It's another way that you do it. Put some fresh berries on the top. Done. Tastes amazing. Tastes like a chocolate pudding without, when you look at the back of those kids' chocolate pudding ingredient labels, I think the list is at least 25 ingredients. It's supposed to be a chocolate pudding. Why are you putting that much stuff in it? It's crazy. So, with the air fryer, what can you put in an air fryer? You can put just about anything in an air fryer. So today what I did is I took a regular russet potato, my other favorite gadget. Has anybody seen any of these before? Love this. One thing about air fryer is you want to make sure that the foods are even. It's a fry cutter. There are two different sizes. This one I have a little bit smaller holes. There's ones that have a little bit bigger holes in them, which are great for like zucchini fries, things like that. You can make zucchini fries in these. You just cut it properly, put it in there, chop it. Once I did that, I placed the French fries, the cut fries, in a bowl of warm water. and I let it sit there. I put a little bit of salt in it to help take the starch out. You want to take the starch out because that's how you're going to get a lot of chutneys. Almost there, you guys. Once you get the starch out of them, you want to lay them down on a flat surface and you want to dry them off because that's going to really mess with the frying aspect of it. Earlier while we were talking, some of you guys saw I sprayed olive oil inside of it. The olive oil just gives it more of that fried taste to it. And then from there you can season it with whatever you want. I literally have taken maybe, with just the french fries, unless I did salt, there's 2 ingredients there. When you are going to eat something out of a bag, you're going to have a snack, you're going to have that craving. You still want to stick to the healthiest, as close to the earth as possible version that you can find. PJ mentioned the Brussels sprouts to a lot of people. If you take a Brussels sprout and you peel off the leaves of the Brussels sprout, spray it with olive oil, toss it in seasoning, put it in the air fryer, what do you have? Brussels chips. Brussels sprout chips. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
You want to know how long that's going to take you? Maybe 10, 15 minutes of your day. People always worry, oh, fast food. I'm sorry, the fastest food is the food that I pull out of my fridge and I'm able to wash it and eat it. Think of things that way. So name something else that you just love.
Donuts.
Donuts.
I love a good donut.
There's a donut recipe on the XGym website.
What is that?
Click the word recipes at the top. That'll get you to our external web, and it's almond flour.
I was going to say, yep. Changing the type of flour. Like instead of using the wheat flours, use the almond flours, use the coconut flours. Sometimes it takes a little bit more to work with it, so I highly recommend following recipes instead of just trying to fake those, because getting the right texture and consistency is very important in a lot of those. Another thing that a lot of people, an avocado. Who loves avocado here?
Oh yeah.
Has anybody put avocado and tuna together? Like instead of using a mayo of some sort, a cream, using avocado. Don't even touch it. Sometimes people look at me first like, that just looks odd. And you mash it in there, you put it on whatever you decide to eat it. I eat it just out with a little bit of salt and pepper. Amazing. Here we go, you guys. I want to show you something. This right here. Where was I at? The avocado. Name something else, you guys. What else do you like? We have donuts so far. Ice cream. Bananas, you guys. You take your bananas, you chop up those bananas, you freeze them. And when you freeze them, you want to make sure that you freeze them so they're not mushed together. Because unless you have a high-powered blender like a Vitamix or something like that, a lot of times they won't blend properly. And the banana becomes your base. From there, you can add blueberries, you can add cocoa powder, you can add pretty much whatever flavoring, natural flavoring that you would like into that, and it has the same creamy consistency texture as an ice cream.
You don't add any milk or anything to it? Or?
If I do, I'll add a little bit of coconut or almond milk to help break it up, but not much. You kind of go. You kind of just gauge it as you're making it, and it'll give it that consistency. If you don't, I'll go ahead.
What about cheese?
Cheese. You know what? Cheese is one of those things, it kind of depends on what type of diet you're trying to utilize. I have some people who are trying to be more vegan, vegetarian, who will go for more of the alternative cheeses. Nutritional yeast is a really good alternative that gives you kind of that cheesy flavor in noodles. Or if you don't want to use as much cheese, when you're trying to make something a healthier version and you're not sure how to get around, the necessarily bad part of it, cut back and use something else more instead. So cut back on less of the cheese if you want to avoid that, and put a little bit more of the nutritional yeast. But one thing you want to be careful with nutritional yeast, since it has a lot of fiber, if you're not used to getting that much fiber at once, you can cause some sort of stomach issues if you just dump a bunch of nutritional yeast in whatever you're trying to cook. Anything else?
On the bananas, do you use really overripe bananas?
Yes.
Is that the best
Overripe bananas are going to be the best. Also with that, overripe bananas are easier for your body to digest as well. And you'll get more of that sweet flavor, which is probably why you're craving that ice cream, the sugar component of that. And then the alternatives to sugar, like dates, the monk fruit. There's a hit or miss with stevia. One thing when I tell people stuff, what I tell is say is not all knowing. Reason I say that is because, like I said, what works for me may not work for you. I have some people, I was actually having a conversation earlier where, like keto wouldn't work for me. If I put chicken or any sort of meat in my body literally does not digest it. I tried. It sits in my stomach and it just festers. I would get bloated. I look like I'm 3 months pregnant after I eat. It doesn't work for me. And so that's why you take the information that works for you and uses it for you. So right now I'm making you guys like garlic fries. Garlic fries? Yes. Do you have another question?
I had a question about the smoothies. So in my smoothies, using the Vitamix, instead of using sugar and so forth to sweeten it up, I do use dates. But sometimes my fear is using too much fruit. I'm actually not being very healthy because my body turns it into sugar. Can you kind of educate around that?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do or what I'm saying in this realm, you have to realize that a lot of times when you're craving that smoothie, is that smoothie with the sugars from the fruit going to be better for you or worse for you than the sugars you're getting from the ice cream? So you are, yes, getting the sugars from the fruit, but with that you're also getting the fiber from the fruit. It's not just this blank slate of sugar that your body's not doing anything with. Now, if you're monitoring your sugar and you know if your daily recommended value of sugar is about 36 grams per day, if you notice that you're going way over that and you're not used to it, your body is not going to react accordingly with that. So when I'm saying making healthier versions of the foods you love, when you feel, somebody said, I think you mentioned, your toddler keeps wanting you to eat those bad foods, and you're trying to fight it, find the healthier versions of those foods that you're craving so that when you do, or if you do give in, because living a healthy lifestyle cleaning isn't about worrying about the foods you can't eat, it's thinking about all the foods you can eat. There's so much food out there, and there's this horrible misconception that there's nothing that you can eat. So with that, I would say, like I said, you're not really making that smoothie for not the health aspect of it, more of having a healthier version of the food that your toddler is craving for that. So, since we're all being good here, right? I didn't make too much. All right, I'm gonna, I don't know, do we have any the plates still over here? I'm gonna put this one over here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. They're garlic fries. They taste very, you're not going to get to taste them. Leave them over here. See them? So I'm going to put them right over here, and I'll put some more in. Any other? You're going to take the whole thing and run? Any other foods? Cheesecake. You know what? You got me. I don't think I've done cheesecake. Pasta. They have the edamame noodles, which is amazing. The kale. Oh, not the kale. Yeah, the kale noodles.
Spinach ones too, right?
The spinach noodles. They have so many different versions of pastas now. The edamame noodles are amazing. They also have a lot of protein in them. And a lot of them, when you look at the ingredients, I think Costco just had one. It comes in a red box. And I think there was maybe like 4 ingredients in the edamame noodles. So that's another good one. Yeah, the edamame seeds, they take the pods. But the biggest one, like I said, is steering away from a lot of the wheat ones, because that's the ones where they always have all those extra ingredients. It's crazy how many ingredients that they put in those.
Since this is being recorded, so are the questions. And so what I'll do is I'll put links, we'll collaborate, I'll put links for the alternatives to this stuff on that sheet. So if you haven't entered yet, let me know, raise your hand if you want that sheet and you want those links to easy order. Anyone? We all done this? Okay.
Okay, do you have a cheesecake recipe on your?
Yeah, we've got one on the site, yeah.
Is it cashew based still? Or is it something else?
It's milk based.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
This is my child. Now he wants to be shy. Ashton's kind of good that he came up here. My son is a self-proclaimed vegetarian on his own. I've never forced anything on him. He's a little environmentalist. But one thing that's really interesting is when you train your palate, when you start eating cleaner, everything else that you put in your mouth tastes amazing. Why do I say this? My son just 2 years ago figured out what Skittles were. He had no idea what Skittles were. From a young age, pretty much most of the foods I gave him were fresh fruits, vegetables. He's never eaten meat from the beginning. And he likes the idea of sweets. You go to Trader Joe's, they have this dog you're supposed to find. He finds the dog. He asks for the lollipop. You want me to tell your story? Okay. Let's go cover your ears, huh? The stomach cramps? Oh, from the chicken. When I eat the chicken, it's not all my stomach cramps from the meat. But his palate is not conditioned to sugar. It's just, and telling people it's trainable. You can train your body to not want it and to reject it. Or when you have a certain amount of it. I stopped buying him birthday cakes at 3 because he wouldn't eat them. And now even if I get him, he gets a mini cupcake and he barely finishes that. We like the idea of what's supposed to taste good because society tells us this is supposed to taste good. But when you're following a healthy diet and you're eating clean, what you put into your body will tell you whether it really wants it or not. And so I guess my overall thing is focus on what works for you. A lot of you are working with PJ. You found what works for you. And continue with it. Stop listening to everything that the outside world is putting in on you. You know you have to eat clean. You know that includes looking for limited ingredients. And the ones that you love need it the most. Because the last thing you want to do is always touches my heart. Do you want a bag of chips or candy or whatever it is to take you away from the ones that you love the most? And because that's what a lot of us end up doing. We let these things on the counter in the grocery stores limit the times that we have to spend with our loved ones. And that's the main thing I want to get across to people, is that there are healthier ways and you can make it fun. Stop worrying about what you can eat and what you can, and live your life and live it to the fullest.
I love it. So this is about transforming what we're doing and taking that and going in another direction with little steps. You know, I mentioned earlier, you go from standard American diet to keto. That's too big of a step. I don't recommend that to most people. Steps along the way. You know, let's take, if you're eating your Wendy's fries every day, let's start doing this. Let's take you in that direction. Let's move you in that direction. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, PJ would never eat a fry. I just did, and it was delicious. And if God created the food, then, you know, it's okay. So some foods, depending on our health goals and weight goals and things like that, are better than others. But all foods, in my opinion, are okay. In fact, if it weren't for potatoes, I wouldn't be here because there wouldn't be any such thing as Irish people. So it's just about moving in the direction of better health, taking little steps and asking the question that Jazz posed, is this healthier than what I've been doing? And if it is, then you're moving in that, remember that chart with that little train? You're on the train and you're moving in the right direction and you're making progress. As long as you're making progress and you're getting healthier, that's the goal. That's the bottom line. And we're just trying to explain ways and strategies to make that easier. Because humans make it too hard. We make it way harder than it should be. And so these are some strategies to make it easier.
So we just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who came. We know that you guys are all busy. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you also to our sponsors who unfortunately had to leave, and to Amy Eels with Zaya and Beauty Counter. She did set up her organic, I'm going to plug you just a little because I love Beauty Counter, all organic makeup with no parabens, all that crap that's in there. So thank you again. Please feel free to stick around. PJ and Jazz and I will be here. We'll all be here. Feel free to ask questions. If you guys have any I know one of the questions that I had that I don't know that I'm not afraid to ask is the way that this is cooked, does it make the fries healthier with less carbs?
No, it doesn't. No, you can't take away the amount of carbs that are in the
That's what I
potato,
thought.
just the way the fries are cooked. Then some people will say, I'm eating healthier fries by buying fries from the frozen section. Well, they flash fried those before and there are preservatives. If you look on the back of those frozen French fry bags, it's not just potatoes. It's potatoes and ribosome, blah, 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 and whatnot.
Takes out the chemicals.
It takes out the extra chemicals from what you're eating, and that's the main thing. It's just creating healthier versions instead of dumping stuff in a deep fryer, dump it in an air fryer. And this particular one I got off of Amazon is probably one of the less expensive ones that I've ever had. It's only like 39 bucks. Some of them are around 60, 70, 80 bucks. It's a Bella one. My last one lasted for about a year and a half, but I use it just about every day. Mostly for foods for him. And I mean, on the other hand, energy saving, I don't have to heat up an entire oven. I just turn this on. In the summer when it's hot, I just turn this on. And so that's one of my little secrets. Yes, Bella. And if you just
B-E-L-L-A.
B-E-L-L-A air fryer. Yes.
It's not a question, but if for anybody that is missing ice cream or something and doesn't want to do the sugar thing, Rebel Creamery, I just got that and it's fantastic. It's keto style ice cream.
Is it
Rebel Creamery?
Rebel Creamery.
Where do you find it?
Online right now.
Online,
There are
okay.
stores around here that it's available in, and it's high fat, protein, and very, very low carb.
Wow. And there's an ice cream recipe on Xgym site too. Uses vegetable glycerin to keep it soft, so it doesn't stay solid. Stick around, and the tablet is over by the food if you haven't signed in for that, if you want the sheet. And we'll be around to answer questions and all that.